Hello everyone and welcome to PTW Breakdown episode 17. Tonight we are main evented by a blockbuster tag team match and also new matches being added to the card of PTW Iron Man featuring Seth Rollins, Finn Balor and the Heenan Family. We'll get more to that later on, but our main event tonight, it is the World Heavyweight Champion Cesaro teaming with his former rival Samoa Joe to take on Daniel Bryan and Kane. And then the Intercontinental Championship will be on the line. Andrade defends against the show-off Dolph Ziggler. And then last episode we saw his debut, the Samoan bulldozer Umaga looks to take another win against Goldust. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to kick off the show by hearing from the PTW Women's Champion, Asuka. Now, Asuka has been a valiant champion, but you see, as she comes out here, maybe not with the usual pep in her step, and that could be because on the latest episode of Brutality, she was pinned by her opponent at PTW Iron Man. She was defeated by China. Carmella coming out here to go after Asuka. But oh! The women's champion! A roundhouse kick right to the side of the head! And I think we just saw Asuka get her confidence back. She came out here feeling for the first time some self-doubt after she was beaten by China. But Carmella came out here to try to pick the bones, and she may have just awoken the Empress. Asuka lays out Carmella with that kick. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we got our first matchup of the evening, and it's for the Intercontinental Championship. The champion Andrade will put that Intercontinental title on the line up against Dolph Ziggler. Now here comes the show-off down to the ring, and we saw Ziggler earn a victory over Wade Barrett of the Heenan family a few episodes ago. And he is, of course, a former Intercontinental Champion, trying to get back to become the first ever two-time Intercontinental Champion in PTW. But Ziggler, of course, has had his own feud with the Heenan family, especially since they took out Cody Rhodes following the trios match at WrestleMania 3. Dolph Ziggler has got revenge and a championship on his mind here tonight. But it's gonna be no easy task, because to win that championship, you'll have to defeat this man, Andrade. Andrade, accompanied out here by Bobby the Brain Heenan. It's just Heenan out here right now, but you have to believe that the Heenan family is waiting in the wings. Anytime something goes wrong for Andrade in this matchup, you have to believe that Bobby Heenan will call on the dogs, Drew McIntyre, Wade Barrett, and Randy Orton to come out here. And of course, we have seen some resistance to the Heenan family, like Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, when they, despite their own disagreements, came together last episode to stop the Heenan family. But now Andrade will be putting that championship on the line against Dolph Ziggler here tonight, and that would be a major blow if Ziggler was able to get that championship out of the hands of Bobby Heenan and Andrade, out of the grasp of the Heenan family. But now this title match underway, they lock up center of the ring. Andrade gets the headlock, Ziggler rings the arm, and now Andrade on his back, but the kip up, and Andrade takes down Dolph Ziggler there. And now Ziggler, though, he's going to fight out of it, and now Ziggler, well, this is just classic Dolph Ziggler showing off with the headstands there, but Andrade, I don't think he's going to take too kindly to that. And Ziggler now, he's just telling Andrade to bring it on here. They go to lock him again, and Andrade with the punch and those chops right to the chest. Now here comes the champion. He cartwheels over Ziggler, misses the clothesline, but now ducks underneath, and Andrade, a little bit of tranquilo there for Dolph Ziggler. And now Bobby Heenan, he likes what he sees there as Andrade certainly gonna, oh, Ziggler though, Ziggler kicks the ropes, and that knocks Andrade to the outside. That's certainly gonna wipe that cocky grin off his face. Dolph Ziggler catching out the champion that time. And Ziggler now telling him, get back in this ring, we're gonna fight for this championship. Ziggler now going after the champion with the punches in the face. Dolph Ziggler now going in the corner with the splash, but Andrade avoids it, and that boot right to the face. Now Andrade, he may not have the resume of a guy like Randy Orton or some other members of the Heenan family, but he is the only one in the family with a championship around his waist, and that means a lot, as Andrade now with the suplexes, the three amigos looking for the third. Ziggler though fights back, and a suplex of his own. Dolph Ziggler trying to win the Intercontinental Championship here tonight, catches out Andrade there as he went for that third suplex, and now Ziggler driving those elbows right to the heart, and now looking for the big one, and he hits it. The cover. Andrade kicks out. But Dolph Ziggler now trying to regain control in this matchup. Unlike his match with Wade Barrett, he is locked in here tonight, completely focused on taking that championship. Now he could be looking for a DDT here, but now Bobby Heenan getting involved now, distracting Dolph Ziggler, and Andrade now fighting back with the forearm. And here comes Andrade off the ropes. Ziggler though with the drop kick that time, but now Andrade, the spinning back elbow caught Ziggler out there, and the Intercontinental Champion getting back in control of this matchup. And now Andrade could be looking to fly here. Look at Andrade, beautiful twisting dive over the top there. And moves like that are why he is the Intercontinental Champion. You know, people may say that guys like Orton and McIntyre are the true stars of the Heenan family, but I would disagree. Because Andrade's the one with the title, and Andrade is the one taking it to Dolph Ziggler right here, right now. As Ziggler trying to get back to his feet, Andrade gonna pick him up there, and now Andrade could be looking now for that reverse DDT off the top rope. Ziggler though gonna fight out of it, and Ziggler now jumping up top. Dolph Ziggler, the athleticism, up on the top rope with the face buster. Face buster off the top from the show off, and Ziggler now, can he get to the cover? He gets the arm right over Andrade, but the champion kicks out and keeps his title hopes alive. Dolph Ziggler nearly caught Andrade out there, and now he could be looking to catch him out again. Dolph Ziggler looking now for the Famouser, I believe. The Famouser, but Andrade caught him. Sit out powerbomb. What a counter. But it is not enough. Dolph Ziggler again kicks out. And these two men showing just what it means to be champion here tonight. All these moves, all these counters. As now Andrade, he could be looking for the final finishing touch here. Andrade now has him hooked. Hammerlock DDT perhaps, but Ziggler catching him out with that reverse slam. And now the DDT. Huge DDT from Dolph Ziggler. And Bobby Heenan cannot believe it here. As Andrade on the back foot here, Dolph Ziggler could be looking to become Intercontinental Champion. As Andrade gets back to his feet, Ziggler looking now for the zigzag. If he hits this, he'll be a two-time champ, but Andrade gets out of the way. Ziggler gets a face for a turnbuckle, and now he gets a face for a knee. Andrade, those double knees, right into the turnbuckle, running full speed. And Andrade just completely lays out Ziggler that time, and now he's looking to climb up onto the top rope. The Intercontinental Champion looking to fly once again. The moonsault. Ziggler avoids it, but he couldn't avoid the second. The cover. And Ziggler kicks out. And that's just peak athleticism from Andrade. Missing the first moonsault. But that doesn't matter because he lands on his feet and just hits another. Wow, man, there are not many wrestlers who can do that like Andrade. As he hits Ziggler with the moonsaults that time, and now Andrade completely looking to finish this matchup again. He's got Ziggler now again trying for the Hammerlock DDT. Ziggler though, the super kick caught, and now Andrade! The Hammerlock DDT, a variation on the move there, and now in for the cover. And Andrade retains the Intercontinental Championship. It was a great effort from Dolph Ziggler, but it was not enough. Andrade, that variation on the Hammerlock DDT, and he retains the Intercontinental Championship. And now Bobby Heenan, what's he doing here? He's pointing at Ziggler, and now, oh no, here comes Wade Barrett and Drew McIntyre. Bobby Heenan, we knew it was only a matter of time. He didn't have to do it during the matchup, but now just rubbing salt in the wound here as Barrett and McIntyre go after a prone Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler's already beaten down after that matchup, but they don't care. Look at McIntyre just holding up Ziggler by the hair there. But now here comes the cavalry. Seth Rollins and Finn Balor coming down to the ring. They're gonna help, but oh! A chair shot from Randy Orton. Orton was waiting in the wings. He just caught him out there. And now going after Rollins and a Claymore. Claymore kick from Drew McIntyre. And the numbers game certainly goes to the Heenan family as Orton and McIntyre take out Rollins and Balor, who are coming down to the ring to help Dolph Ziggler. But now Wade Barrett, what's he doing here? Dragging Dolph to the outside. And the Heenan family, they might not be done here. The Heenan family are not done. They've already beaten them down enough. But now Seth Rollins laid out. Finn Balor laid out. There's no more reinforcements to come here. As now Dolph Ziggler is held by McIntyre and Barrett, held up over the announce table. What are they planning here? And oh no! Dolph Ziggler sent right through my announce table by Wade Barrett and Drew McIntyre. And another example of the Heenan family just going too far here tonight. Ziggler is out completely. We're going to need some medical assistance here, folks. But the Heenan family, they've already taken out Cody Rhodes. And now Dolph Ziggler put through the announce table. There is nothing these guys will not do. There is no atrocity they will not commit to the superstars here on Breakdown, and I just hope Ziggler is okay. The New Day didn't realize there was a camera rolling back there, but now Headless Man stands by with Goldust. Well, that concussion certainly did a number on Goldust, but he will be in action up next, and it will be against the Samoan bulldozer, Umaga. And now, ladies and gentlemen, down to the ring comes this man, Goldust. Now, Goldust, he's a bit of an oddball in recent weeks, as we've seen ever since he was punted in the head by Randy Orton and given a concussion. I don't even know if he's medically cleared to compete tonight, but he is competing as Goldust, not as Dustin Rhodes. Of course, we've known him as Dustin Rhodes, but now we see he is just completely off his rocker here tonight. Just the way he's just staring at the camera and hugging that turnbuckle post. But we know that concussion or not, sanity or not, he is capable in that ring. But you'll have to be more than capable to stand a chance against this man, Umaga. We saw Umaga make his debut last episode when he defeated Evan Bourne. But many people are still talking about what happened after that match when Umaga tried to put his hands on Aaliyah. Aaliyah was innocent in all that, and of course, thankfully, Rob Van Dam and Evan Bourne came to her aid. But we know Umaga, there is one thing on his mind, and it is complete destruction. He is called the Samoan Bulldozer for a reason. He's looking to bulldoze the competition here on Breakdown. And he'll look to do so tonight in his second matchup against Goldust. And Umaga now going right after Goldust to start this matchup. Those clubbing blows right to the back, taking Goldust down. But now Goldust, a slap to the face. And I don't think Umaga is going to take that very well. You do not want to make him mad, but now Goldust patting him on the head. But Umaga, just a massive clothesline. Goldust, I don't know what he's thinking, if he's even thinking, patting Umaga on the head there like a child. But now Umaga is fired up, and here he comes with the hip attack in the corner. Massive hip attack there from Umaga, just running full speed right at Goldust. And now going for the cover. Goldust kicks out. But now Umaga with a headbutt. Frustrated by that kick out, he just headbutts Goldust. And Goldust has already got a concussion. And now getting a full headbutt from a Samoan, that is not going to be doing his brain any favors. But now on the outside trying to recover, but Umaga now has got him. But Goldust sending him into the turnbuckle post. And the Bizarre One trying to fight back here against Umaga. And now Goldust, a Bulldog on the outside. Bulldog right onto the floor. And that floor much less forgiving than the ring. Umaga is going to be feeling that one. But now Goldust, a big opportunity for him. As if he can get Umaga back into the ring here, this could be huge momentum for the Bizarre One. But now Umaga trying to get back to his feet. Goldust has to stay on the attack here. Cannot let Umaga recover. Goldust now with the punch. And another. He drops down with the uppercut. Goldust now taking control of this matchup with the atomic drop. And that is vintage Dustin Rhodes. I guess vintage Goldust now. But now climbing up on the second rope. Looking for the cross body. But he's caught. And Umaga. The pop-up Samoan drop. What strength from Umaga. We saw him do that to Evan Bourne last episode, but Goldust much bigger. But that doesn't matter. Umaga will slam him down nonetheless. And now Umaga looking to put this away. Looking now for the Samoan spike. But Goldust rolls him up. He could have him here. Could have the upset. No. Umaga kicks out. And the super kick. Massive super kick from Umaga. Goldust nearly pulled off the upset of the century there. But now Umaga, the Samoan spike. Driving the thumb right into the throat. And the cover. 1, 2, 3. And that will do it. Umaga picks up another win. Goldust certainly had his moments in this matchup. But Umaga, his strength, his power, enough to get him the victory. But now Umaga. Now, oh no, he's going after Goldust. He's still going after him again. Umaga just doesn't know when to stop attacking. But oh, Evan Bourne. Evan Bourne out of nowhere with the shooting star press. I'm glad our cameraman was able to zoom out to catch that. I had no idea he was even there. Evan Bourne, shooting star press to stop Umaga's attack. But now, there's Rob Van Dam and RVD's having words with Evan Bourne here on the outside. And Van Dam, I think Van Dam is not happy with Evan Bourne getting involved here again. with Umaga. Rob Van Dam telling Evan Bourne, you may have just poked the bear, and now you see why. Umaga is up on his feet, and he is furious. And Rob Van Dam might have a point there, telling Evan Bourne that was not a smart thing to do. You do not want to make Umaga even more pissed off. But Evan Bourne may have just done that. But Umaga picks up the win, but he is angry here tonight. PTW Iron Man is certainly going to be a stacked show. We have this matchup for the Women's Championship. Asuka looks like she's got her confidence back, but can she defeat the ninth wonder of the world, China, who already has a pinfall victory over Asuka? And then there seems to be some dissension in the New Day, but can they defend their tag team championships in triple threat action against Rusev and Sheamus and the Revival? And then this matchup just added to the card. It is the Resistance against the Heenan Family. Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. They may not like each other, but they're gonna have to team up against Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. It is Extreme Rules in a tornado tag team match. And then the main event, it's called Iron Man for a reason. For the World Heavyweight Championship, it's Daniel Bryan challenging Cesaro. A 30-minute Iron Man match for the PTW World Heavyweight Championship. Well, if Damien Sandow is so smart, I don't know why he doesn't just get in the ring with Keith Lee himself. But next episode, Keith Lee and Jake Hager go one-on-one. We'll see how much those strategies help him. And then also tag team action. Rob Van Dam and Evan Bourne team up against Umaga and Apollo Crews. After all their tensions this episode, that matchup should be interesting. But this one will also be intense. It will be a street fight between Samoa Joe and Kane. They have unfinished business. And also, unfinished business here. Randy Orton of the Heenan Family against Seth Rollins one-on-one. That'll certainly be an Iron Man preview. But in tonight's main event, it will be Cesaro and Samoa Joe taking on Daniel Bryan and Kane. And it's up next. Now down to the ring comes the big red machine, Kane. Now Kane, we know he does not really speak behind that mask, but we know there is a lot of animosity for Samoa Joe and for Cesaro. Kane and Joe have their own history at WrestleMania 3, and then Kane was also defeated by Cesaro here on Breakdown. Those fireworks, they scare me every time. But Kane is not alone here tonight. He is teaming with the American Dragon and the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, Daniel Bryan. Now Bryan and Cesaro, they have had a heated rivalry that has only picked up since WrestleMania 3, where after Cesaro defeated Kane, Daniel Bryan attacked him, and that has of course led to the creation of this tag team match where two unlikely teams will team up here tonight. And one unlikely team featuring this man, the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe. Joe, at one time, was one of Cesaro's biggest rivals. But now here tonight, they are teaming up. And just look at them in the matching black and yellow attires. Cesaro, the World Heavyweight Champion, took that title from Samoa Joe. And they have had their feuds and their battles over that championship. But tonight, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Cesaro and Joe both have hatred for Kane and Daniel Bryan. And they're putting their own differences aside to team up tonight. Certainly a bit of a dream team here on PTW Breakdown, or Cesaro and Samoa Joe. And then you can make the argument for Daniel Bryan and Kane as well. But this is certainly a blockbuster tag team match as we get started here tonight with Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe in the ring. And many could argue that this is a dream match here. Joe and Bryan now going to face off. Bryan goes for the kick, but it's caught by Samoa Joe. And Joe going right after Bryan with those chops and punches, sending him over to the ropes. And Samoa Joe taking full control right away with those strikes. And now clotheslining Bryan over the top rope to the outside. Bryan may be challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship, but that doesn't make you any better than Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, he always believes he is the best in the ring, and he's putting that to the test here tonight against Bryan. They lock up, and now Joe with the waistlock and the waistlock takedown. Samoa Joe now transitioning into the headlock, and Joe has just had full control early on as he just again slamming Bryan down there. But now Bryan trying to catch him out into the bell lock. He might be able to lock it in here. Joe, though, slips out of it that time, and now boot right to the chest. Samoa Joe goes for the clothesline. Bryan dumps underneath, and now Bryan, those kicks right to the side of Samoa Joe. And then here comes Bryan right into a clothesline from Samoa Joe. These two evenly matched in the ring, but Bryan, he doesn't want any more of the Samoan submission machine. He's tagging out and bringing in Kane. Kane now shoves Joe away, catching him with the uppercut there. Kane did defeat Samoa Joe at WrestleMania 3. Joe looking for revenge, but Kane caught him with the elbow there. And now Cesaro tagging into this matchup. Cesaro now with the uppercuts to Kane. And now the World Heavyweight Champion avoids the big boot and the massive belly-to-back suplex from Cesaro. What power from the World Heavyweight Champion. We already saw what Cesaro and Kane can do in the ring against each other in the main event back on episode 15. But now Cesaro making eye contact with his rival, his opponent at PTW Iron Man. And Cesaro, he wants Bryan to get in this matchup. He wants an Iron Man preview, and these fans want it as well. They want to see Daniel Bryan and Cesaro face off. Cesaro again looking over at Daniel Bryan, but now Kane catching him out with the sidewalk slam.
1, 2.
Cesaro took his eye off the ball there, maybe focusing on his rivalry with Bryan and not on the big red monster who he's in the ring with as Kane now. But look at Cesaro again with the power. Northern Lights suplex to Kane. It's got to be over 300 pounds. And now Cesaro with the gut wrench suplex there. Just putting the strength on display of the World Heavyweight Champion. Now tagging in Samoa Joe, and Joe with the senton. Now the cover, hooks the leg, Kane kicks out. But Samoa Joe and Cesaro, two of the greatest superstars here since the formation of the Breakdown brand here in PTW. Arguably two of the most successful superstars on this brand, now finally teaming together as Joe sends Kane in the corner, the hip attack, and the enziguri. Cesaro makes the tag and the uppercut. Tandem offense from Cesaro and Samoa Joe. Something I never thought I'd say as Kane gets the shoulder up. But Joe and Cesaro are working well together here tonight, as Kane is feeling the brunt of it. He's been taking all the attacks here. But now again, Cesaro laying eyes on Daniel Bryan. And I think Bryan wants nothing to do with it. Cesaro pointing at Bryan, letting him know, I want you in this matchup. But now Cesaro looking for the Cesaro swing to Kane. He's got him by the legs. But now Kane has him by the throat. Has him by the throat here. Cesaro though counters. And the roll up on Kane. Kane kicks out, but now Cesaro's got him again. and the Cesaro swing. Cesaro swinging around the massive body of Kane like it's nothing. I'll never not be amazed when Cesaro pulls off a move like that. The Cesaro swing, leaving Kane feeling dizzy here in the center of the ring, and Kane has been taking all the attacks from Cesaro and Samoa Joe here tonight. Bryan has wanted nothing to do with his Iron Man opponent, but now Samoa Joe could be looking to finish it, could be looking for the Coquina clutch, trying to lock it in here tonight, trying to lock in the clutch on Kane. He's got it in. Kane trying to fight out of it, and Kane now. Kane has Joe with the back body drop. Kane powers out of the clutch there, and now makes a tag into Daniel Bryan. Bryan finally tagging in now that Cesaro's not the legal man, as Bryan now turns it around with the moonsault out of the corner, and now Daniel Bryan takes down Samoa Joe there. Daniel Bryan is rolling now with those kicks right to the chest of Samoa Joe. Looking for the big one. Joe ducks underneath, and the Uranagi. Massive Uranagi from Samoa Joe. Joe now picking up Bryan here, and Samoa Joe bringing him into the corner, and we know what that means. Joe now looking for the muscle buster. He's got Bryan up, but Bryan pulls him down into the triangle choke. The triangle choke from Daniel Bryan. Joe trying to fight out of it, but what a counter from Bryan, and now he turns it into the lapel lock. The lapel lock locked in the center of the ring. Samoa Joe, nowhere to go, nowhere to turn. And Cesaro breaks it up. Cesaro makes the save. And Cesaro now is finally getting his hands on Daniel Bryan. Kane made the tag there, but Cesaro doesn't care. He's going after Bryan on the outside, and now sends him right into the barricade. The World Heavyweight Champion finally getting his hands on his challenger. Meanwhile in the ring, here comes Kane off the top. Kane, a massive clothesline off the top rope. And Joe kicks out. Samoa Joe just getting the shoulder up there as Kane came off the top that time. And now on the outside, Cesaro going after Bryan with the punches. Kane now looking for the choke slam here on Samoa Joe, on his rival. He's got him gripped by the throat. Joe though sends him into the corner, and the big splash. And now Samoa Joe looking to hoist up Kane, looking for the muscle buster. He's got him up. Kane though counters, and Kane for the tombstone. This is the same way he won at WrestleMania, but Joe now gets out of it, and the German suplex. That muscle buster into the tombstone was how Kane defeated Samoa Joe at WrestleMania 3. But this time Joe had a counter, and now he's got him up, and the muscle buster. What power from Samoa Joe, and the cover.
2, 3.
Samoa Joe and Cesaro win it here tonight. At one point, they were the two biggest enemies on Breakdown and in all of PTW, but tonight they team up to get the win. Samoa Joe and Cesaro defeat Kane and Daniel Bryan. Samoa Joe getting some retribution against Kane before their street fight next episode, and Cesaro finally getting one over on his Iron Man challenger, Daniel Bryan. What a main event, what a blockbuster tag team match. But that's all we have here tonight. Cesaro and Samoa Joe standing tall.